Sometimes, betrayal is a blessing. When a person close to you violates your trust, it calls everything into question and provides no way to answer. Betrayal is mostly caused by jealousy and selfishness. Betrayal by a loved one can destroy your self-esteem, your ability to trust other people, and your readiness to allow yourself to commit to any close personal relationship. A betrayal leads to disappointment, but one's best success comes after their greatest disappointment, because the disappointment will expose them to their mistakes, which they need to correct to be successful. Therefore, disappointment is God's way of telling you things will be better. After being betrayed, it may appear you're fine, but you carry deep sorrow in your heart for a long time. Some betrayals may be intentional, while some may be accidental consequences of emotional or spiritual brokenness. The more you trust someone, the greater your risk to be betrayed, because betrayal is a violation of trust. The signs of betrayal are gossip, rejection, lie, criticism, and broken promises. The story of Joseph in the Old Testament and Jesus in the New Testament are examples of betrayal. Joseph experienced broken trust repeatedly because he was betrayed by his brothers, Potiphar's wife, and Pharaoh's chief cupholder. Yet, he became the governor of Egypt at last. He must have suffered the pains of his betrayals and broken trust, but his focus on the purpose made him overcome. If you've been betrayed by someone close to you, your first action should be to cry to Jesus, who loves us, pursues us, and intimately understands the reality of the betrayal. I want to remind you that God understands betrayal because it happened to him twice in two different gardens. In the Garden of Eden, the dew was still wet on the grass of creation when the first two people he created betrayed him. Then, in the Garden of Gethsemane, the grass was wet from the blood drops of sweat from the brow of the Son of God, and one of his best friends betrayed him. But out of both of those betrayals came a Savior, a rescuer, and a ruler who died on a cross and came back from the grave so that he can take any betrayal and turn it into a blessing. That betrayal might have been a blessing in disguise. God can permit that betrayal to prepare you for a greater and huge blessing. I know you were accused wrongly by a colleague at work, and that led to the loss of your job. But it is God taking you away from that job so He can open your eyes to see and explore opportunities that will land you into wealth. It is possible that your partner cheated on you with your friend and you feel betrayed, but it is God saving you from a relationship that will crash in the near future and making your path cross with the perfect person He has prepared for you. At the time you are betrayed, it feels as though your world is crumbling and you just want to lock yourself in. Do not ever think that you have no one to talk to, because you can always talk to God. He is ever ready to listen to you. You might think no one will understand, but God always understands. He's always available. He completely understands. He can be wholly trusted, and He can help. You never bother God. You can never be a burden to Him. The only thing that bothers God is when we think we bother Him. His shoulders are large enough to carry our hurts. His ears are sharp enough to hear our hurts, and His hands are strong enough to handle those hurts. He alone can transform betrayal into a blessing, a disappointment into a blessing. He can turn situations around within the twinkle of an eye. He has done it before, and surely He can do it again. He can turn your mourning into dancing and your sorrow into joy. Betrayal at times might be God's way of removing toxic people from your life, while He's preparing you for greater glory. Many times, because we relate with people from the horizontal view, we do not see fully what's going on in the heart of the other person. And God knows it is better that it breaks now, that the person defines many and their heart of disloyalty persists in your life. There are many examples of stories of betrayal, but it has been found out that in all of these stories, betrayal was an open door for a beautiful life, and at the end, a blessing. There's something about you that you should be conscious of in this world. You can never be disadvantaged, and you are at the right time, in the right place, in every season of your life. You have been predestined, and you are in God's timetable. Everything in life has been commanded to work for your favor. God again says in Romans 8 verse 28 to 29, "And we know that all things work together for good to them that love God, to them who are called according to his purpose. For whom he did foreknow, he also did predestine to be conformed to the image of his Son, that he might be the firstborn among many brethren." You should not be emotionally unstable because that person leaves you. You must have this mindset that all things are working together for your good. Both good and bad events that happened in your life are for your good. We looked earlier on at the story of Joseph, but maybe we play down the weight of what happened because we look from the end. Just imagine you were in the shoes of Joseph. Not knowing what had happened was a road and a pathway to you being the second in command of the whole Egypt. His brother betrayed him. He thought he had trusted his brother, but they sold him as a slave. But the betrayal was a blessing in disguise, because if he was not sold by his brothers, he would not end up in Potiphar's house. And if he was not betrayed by Potiphar's wife, he would not have ended up in prison, where he would have interpreted the dream for the king, and would have been given that kind of honor, which elevated and changed his stature, from being a stranger in a foreign land to being the second in command in Egypt. This is a perfect story that tells you that the betrayal that you feel now, that looks as if the whole world is against you, might be a stepping stone of a blessing for you. Do not take the burden and grieve over that betrayal from the person you trusted that much. There is no empty vessel on the earth. No one is indispensable. When one door closes, another door will be opened. That betrayal might be a blessing in disguise, so let go of the depression and worry. Just begin to rejoice. You might have been bastardized and insulted in secret. That has made you so down that you cannot think straight, but it should not be when you know you have an assurance that the betrayal is just a blessing in disguise. So unveil what is hidden in that event. Move on and enjoy the bumper package.
God would be removing you from places that would stop and hinder this growth. Remove you from places that would be harmful to you, places that would prevent your glory from shining. It's possible you lose your job in this process and you're feeling bad. Be of good cheer. God is shaping you into something big, calling you to a bigger office, something you never expected, meeting people you never thought you would meet professionally. God's plans for you are always mighty, and He does for you far above your thoughts. As you go through this process, it would feel as if you're all on your own, and the devil would make you feel God has abandoned you. Trust me, it's all his ways of stopping you from reaching the final destination of your breakthrough, and you cannot let him have that victory.